He is the only man in the history of cinema to win back-to-back Academy Awards for Best Actor.
Hello,
Anywhere on
everyone.
Earth,
What a
people
night.
smile when they
So
hear the
proud
name
to
Tom
be
Hanks.
here.
Thank you all.
Not the polite smile reserved
Wow,
for
this is
celebrities,
incredible. Thank you.
something
I have to thank
softer,
my family and everyone who
almost
made this
personal.
possible. This
as
is
if they
just
have
amazing.
always known him, as if
Hey
he has
there,
always
great
been
to see
there.
you.
But there's a
How's
question
everything
few are
going?
willing to ask. Who is the man who exists
And that's the
behind
power of a
all
good
that?
story. It connects us
Behind
all.
the charm that
It makes us
disarms
feel less
every
alone
journalist
in this
in the
world.
room, behind
This
the
is getting
voice
out
that
of
warmed
hand.
generations,
I see it. What's the play?
behind
We
the
move.
image Hollywood
Now.
constructed
Agreed.
with
Let's go.
extraordinary care.
Wow.
There is
This
a
is
childhood
incredible.
so
Thank you so much
fractured
to
that
the
most
Academy,
people
to
never
my
knew it
everyone who
happened.
made this possible. This
There is a
for you.
loneliness so deep that no level of fame was ever able to erase it. There is a body that eventually began collecting on decades of sacrifice. There is a vulnerability so carefully concealed that even those closest to him sometimes forgot it was there. The man the world thinks it knows may be the greatest illusion Hollywood has ever produced. How does a boy who lived in 10 different houses before the age of 10 become one of the most beloved figures on the planet? What does a body subjected to extreme physical transformations year after year eventually present as a bill? What does a pandemic reveal about a man when every layer of armor is stripped away? What or who actually held him together in the moments he came closest to losing himself entirely? To answer that, we have to go back to the beginning, to California in the 1960s, to a family that broke apart without warning, and to a 5-year-old boy who learned in the hardest way possible that the people we trust the most are often the first to leave. Tom Hanks was born on July 9th, 1956, in Concord, California, a date that meant nothing to the world then. He was the third of 4 children born to Amos Hanks, a cook who drifted between jobs and kitchens, and Janet Marilyn Frager, a woman who carried her own quiet wounds. On the surface, it looked like an ordinary American family. Behind the door, it was anything but. When Tom was 5, his parents divorced. Not the kind explained gently to children, but the kind that simply happens around them like weather. One morning the family was whole, then it was not. His mother took his older brother and sister and built a new life elsewhere. Tom and his younger brother were left with their father. Whatever the intention, the effect was the same. His mother was gone, and no explanation could fill that absence. What followed was not a childhood, as much as a sequence of relocations. His father remarried, then divorced, then remarried again. By the time Tom was 10, he had lived in 10 different homes across Northern California, 10 different bedrooms, 10 different schools. He was, by circumstance, a loner. Attachment felt dangerous because everything he attached to was eventually taken away. Some stepmothers were kind, some indifferent. But even warmth from a stranger cannot replace the particular warmth of a mother who stays. He learned early that love was provisional and home was temporary. School offered no anchor. He was the new kid so many times that newness became his identity. He did not belong to sports teams or social circles. He belonged to himself. 2 books. And 2 movies? The cinema became his first real home. Sitting in the dark watching characters live fully and suffer meaningfully, he felt understood. He absorbed films the way other children absorbed friendships deeply and hungrily. He was not remarkable at school, not a troublemaker, simply unnoticed. But beneath that silence was an interior life burning.
Hello,
He
everyone.
observed everything,
What a night.
every gesture,
So proud to
every
be
silence,
here.
Thank you all.
every tone. He
Wow,
filed them
this
away
is
without
incredible.
knowing he
Thank
would
you.
one
I
day
have to
need
thank
all
my
of it.
family and everyone who made this
At
possible.
17,
This is just
a drama
amazing.
class cracked something open.
Hey there, great to see
For the
you.
first time, he
How's
felt he was
everything
in the
going?
right room. The stage gave him permission to inhabit other people.
And that's the power of
and
a
in
good
doing
story.
so,
It
to be
connects us
seen.
all. It
The
makes us
applause was
feel less
small,
alone in
but
this
to a
world.
boy who had spent his childhood invisible,
This is getting out of hand.
even a ripple,
I see it.
felt
What's
like
the
a
play?
wave.
We
He
move.
transferred
Now.
to California
Agreed.
State
Let's go.
University, Sacramento.
Wow. This is incredible.
But in
Thank you so much to the
1977,
Academy, to
he
my
left for
everyone who made this
Cleveland
possible. This
after
is for
landing
you.
an internship at the Great Lakes Theater Festival. He slept on couches, ate what he could afford, and studied older actors with relentless attention. He married Samantha Lewis in 1978. They had 2 children, Colin and Elizabeth. On paper, it looked hopeful. Beneath the surface, fault lines formed. He was barely an adult himself, trying to build permanence without having learned how. In 1980, he appeared in a small horror film called He Knows You're Alone, It was minor. But it led to television work, including the sitcom Bosom Buddies. The premise was ridiculous, but it put his face into American homes. It's one of those homes. Belonged to director Ron Howard, who cast him in Splash in 1984. The film was a hit, and suddenly America recognized him. Comedies followed. The Money Pit, Dragnet, he was funny, warm, accessible. In 1988, Big changed everything. Playing a 12-year-old trapped in a man's body, he delivered a performance of startling emotional truth. The Academy nominated him for Best Actor. He did not win, but the nomination announced something important. He was more than a comic actor. His marriage to Samantha ended in 1987. In 1988, he married Rita Wilson. She became the constancy his childhood never offered. With her, he built something permanent. In 1993, Philadelphia arrived. He played a lawyer dying of AIDS with devastating dignity and won his first Academy Award a year later. Forrest Gump was released, and he won again, back-to-back, an achievement not seen since Spencer Tracy. The statistics were staggering. The cultural impact, immeasurable. But fame is a transaction. It gives and it takes. The more beloved he became, the more he risked disappearing into the symbol. Castaway in 2000 stripped him down to a man alone on an island. He lost 50 pounds for the role. It was not just a performance, it was excavation. His schedule through the late 1990s and early 2000s was relentless. Saving Private Ryan, The Green Mile, Road to Perdition, film after film, year after year. The toll was quiet but real. In 2013, he revealed on television that he had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Years of weight fluctuations and stress had accumulated interest. The body had kept its own account, adapted, managed it carefully, but the lesson was clear. In 2020, while in Australia, he and Rita tested positive for COVID-19. Among the first public figures to announce it, they faced uncertainty far from home. They recovered, but something shifted. Stillness entered him. Mortality had spoken clearly. Grief has marked him too. His father died in 1992, his mother later. And in 2023, the sudden death of Matthew Perry affected him.
Hello, everyone.
What a night!
So proud to be here.
Thank you all!
By 2025,
Wow,
at
this
68,
is incredible. Thank you.
he moves
I have to thank
differently
my
through the
family and
world.
everyone who made this possible.
He still works.
This is just
but
amazing.
He chooses carefully.
Hey
Writes,
there, great to see
He
you.
lives quietly.
How's everything
He
going?
manages his health with discipline. Gives philanthropically.
And that's the
without
power of a
spectacle.
good story. It connects
Through
us
it all,
all.
Rita
It makes us feel less
remains.
alone in this
After
world.
decades, their marriage stands
This
as
is
the
getting
most
out of
important
hand.
achievement
I
of his
see
life.
it. What's the play?
Not the
We
Oscars.
move. Now.
not
Agreed.
the box
Let's go.
office.
Wow.
Her.
This is incredible.
The
Thank you
constancy
so
of
much
her.
to the Academy, to my
The
everyone
boy
who
from
made this
10 Houses
possible. This
finally
is for
found
you.
one that lasts. In a world that rewards spectacle, he built his greatest achievement in the quiet, in the ordinary miracle of being loved and choosing to stay. He understands now, in a way the young actor driving to Cleveland never could, that endurance is not the same thing as fulfillment. For most of his life, survival had been the measure of success. If you could withstand it, if you could carry it, if you could keep showing up no matter how heavy the weight became, then you were winning. That belief had been forged in childhood, in rooms that kept changing, and in relationships that did not hold. It had served him well. It had built a career. It had built a reputation for reliability so solid that studios structured entire budgets around the assumption that if Tom Hanks said yes, the film would not collapse. But somewhere in his 60s, the definition shifted. Endurance was no longer. The goal presence was. He speaks differently about time now, not in grand philosophical declarations, but in the way he lingers over small details. The way he describes a morning coffee. It's the way he laughs about a malfunctioning typewriter from his vast collection. The way he pauses before answering questions, as if measuring not just what to say, but whether it needs to be said at all. Is less urgency, less hunger to prove, more willingness to simply be. The relationship with his children has deepened in this season of life. Colin is no longer the toddler whose sleeping face he once watched into an owning uncertainty. He is a father himself. Elizabeth has built a voice of her own. Chet has wrestled publicly with his own struggles and grown in ways that required both distance and closeness from his parents. Truman has carved his path quietly. Tom does not present himself as a perfect father. He never has. But he presents himself as a present one. That distinction matters more than image ever could. There is something profoundly intentional about the way he protects his private life now. The performances continue, but the performance of celebrity has diminished. He does not chase the cultural spotlight. He does not engage in public feuds or cultivate mystique. There is nothing left to prove. The work stands. The legacy is secure. What remains is stewardship of his health, of his marriage, of the time. Still allotted to him, the diabetes requires discipline. The body that once transformed dramatically for roles is treated now with respect rather than experimentation. He listens when it speaks. He rests when it demands rest. There is humility in that adjustment. For a man who once reshaped himself physically at will for art, accepting physical limitation is its own kind of character role, one without applause. He has also become quietly reflective about the illusion of certainty. Fame once felt like permanence. It felt like insulation. The last decade dismantled that belief. A virus does not care about awards. A diagnosis
Hello,
does
everyone.
not negotiate with
What a
box office
night.
numbers.
So proud to be
A
here.
sudden
Thank you
loss
all.
does not pause to consider
Wow,
cultural
this is
status.
incredible. Thank you.
What
I have to
remains
thank my
when those
family and
illusions
everyone who
fall
made this
away is
possible.
startlingly
This is just
simple.
amazing.
The people in
Hey
your
there,
immediate
great to
circle,
see you.
the habits of
How's
your daily
everything
life,
going?
the values you practiced when no one was watching.
And that's the power of a good story.
And
It
perhaps
connects us
that is
all.
the thread that
It makes
runs
us
through
feel
the
less
entirety
alone in this world.
of his story,
This is getting
not
out of
the
hand.
awards.
I see it. What's the play?
not the
We
iconic
move.
lines
Now.
repeated by
Agreed.
generations.
Let's go. Wow,
But the practice
this is
of
incredible.
decency.
Thank you so much to the
The
Academy, to
decision
everyone who
repeated
made this
quietly
possible.
over
This
decades
is for you.
to remain kind in an industry that does not always reward kindness, to remain grounded when elevation was constant, to remain loyal when reinvention was fashionable. He has played captains and soldiers, lawyers and castaways, astronauts and ordinary men caught in extraordinary circumstances. But the through line in nearly every character is the same: a man trying to do the right thing when the right thing is difficult. Audiences trusted him with those roles because somewhere beneath the acting, they sensed alignment. The performance and the person were not identical, but they were not in conflict either. That alignment is not accidental. It was constructed slowly through choices, through refusing certain scripts, through walking away from opportunities that would have compromised something essential, through protecting his marriage with the same seriousness he protected his career, through showing up for friends privately rather than publicly. He has spoken occasionally about fear, not fear of failure. He has failed before and survived it, but fear of regret, fear of looking back and realizing he had been moving so fast he forgot to notice where he was. That fear seems to have shaped his later years more than ambition ever did. There is a softness to him now that was not always visible, not weakness, softness, the kind that comes from understanding that strength is not dominance, not volume, not relentless output. Strength is choosing where to stand still. Strength is staying. Strength is allowing yourself to be loved without flinching. When he looks back at the boy who lived in 10 different houses, he does not romanticize him. He does not claim that instability was a gift, it was a wound. But he also recognizes that it taught him to observe, to adapt, to endure. It gave him empathy. It allowed him to inhabit characters who were searching for home because he had searched for it too. And in the end, that search resolved not in a mansion or a trophy case, but in a kitchen table conversation, in shared laughter. A marriage that outlasted predictions. In children who call not because they need something from a symbol, but because they love their father. The world will continue to celebrate the performances. Film schools will analyze the nuance of his timing. Cultural historians will document the impact of his roles. The truest measure of his life may never appear in a headline. In the ordinariness he fought so hard to protect, a morning walk without cameras, a quiet dinner at home, a handwritten note. A choice to stay when leaving would have been easier. He once said that the only thing you can truly control is your own behavior. Everything else, success, failure, public opinion, even health, contains variables beyond your command. Behavior, however, is yours. And across decades of extraordinary visibility, His behavior has been remarkably consistent. Kind, measured, present, the boy who learned. Not to need too much eventually allowed himself to need deeply. The man who could have
Hello,
been consumed by
everyone.
fame
What a
chose
night.
instead to build a
So
life
proud to
sturdy
be
enough to
here.
Thank you
withstand
all.
it. And if there is an
Wow,
illusion
this
in
is
the
incredible.
story,
Thank you. I have
it
to
is
thank
not
my
that he is
family and
perfect.
everyone who made this possible.
It is that
this is just
perfection was
amazing.
ever the point. The
Hey
point
there,
was
great to see
endurance.
you.
With grace,
How's everything going?
achievement without cruelty.
And that's the
Love
power of a good
without
story.
departure.
It connects us all.
He endured.
It makes us feel less alone
chose
in this
well.
world.
He loved fiercely
This is getting out of
and
hand.
was loved in return.
I see it. What's the play?
And in a
We
culture
move.
that often
Now.
confuses
Agreed.
noise
Let's
with
go.
meaning,
Wow.
he
This
built
is
something
incredible. Thank you
quieter
so
and
much to
far
the
more
Academy, to my
difficult.
everyone who made this
A
possible.
life that
This is
beneath
for
the
you.
spotlight was genuinely his own. And perhaps what makes his story linger is not the scale of the success, but the restraint within it. There were moments when he could have leaned into excess, into ego, into the mythology that so easily forms around men who become institutions. He did not. Or if he felt the pull, he resisted it. That resistance is invisible work. It does not trend. It does not generate headlines. But it shapes a life just as powerfully as ambition does. There were seasons when offers arrived faster than reflection could keep up. Franchises, prestige dramas, historical epics. He could have said yes to everything and watched the machinery expand around him indefinitely. Instead, over time, he began to narrow the gate. Fewer projects, longer pauses, more conversations about why rather than how much. The shift was subtle, but decisive. He no longer worked to secure his place. His place was secure. He worked because something inside him remained curious. Curiosity has always been one of his quiet engines. The fascination with people, with ordinary routines, the way small decisions ripple outward into consequences no one anticipates. It is the same instinct that made him a careful observer as a child, watching stepmothers navigate kitchens, watching classmates establish hierarchies, watching adults perform stability they did not feel. That observational muscle never atrophied. It simply matured. He has spoken about aging not as decline, but as revelation. The body slows. Yes, recovery takes longer. Energy must be rationed rather than assumed, but clarity increases. Distractions fall away. The list of things worth worrying about shortens dramatically. Embarrassingly small grievances that once felt urgent now dissolve on contact with perspective. The horizon narrows in one sense and expands in another. You begin to see the shape of your life as a whole, rather than as a series of isolated achievements. There's also forgiveness in this stage. Forgiveness for the young man who did not yet know how to stay. Forgiveness for the father who was still learning while parenting. Forgiveness for the seasons when work eclipsed rest. He does not narrate his past with regret. He narrates it with context. The industry around him has changed in ways that would be disorienting to someone less anchored. The streaming era, the fracturing of audiences, the speed of digital outrage, the volatility of public opinion, all of it moves faster than the Hollywood that launched him. Yet he moves through it without panic. He does not chase relevance. He does not attempt to outpace youth. He trusts that authenticity ages better than trend. There are moments in interviews now when a question about legacy arises. He often deflects it with humor. Occasionally, something more thoughtful slips through. Legacy to him is not the catalog. It is the impact on the immediate circle. Did he show up? Did he listen?
Hello,
Did he
everyone.
create an
What a
environment where
night.
the people
So proud to be
around
here.
Thank
him
you
felt
all.
safe to be themselves?
Wow, this is incredible.
Awards
Thank you.
tarnish.
I have to thank my family and
office
everyone who made this
records
possible.
are broken.
This is just amazing.
But the memory of how
Hey
someone
there,
made
great
you
to
feel,
see you.
that lingers.
How's everything
The
going?
pandemic intensified this recalibration.
And that's the power of a
Confronting
good story.
vulnerability
It
in
connects
real
us
time,
all.
stripped
It makes
away.
us feel less alone in this
Abstraction.
world.
Mortality
This is getting
stopped
out of
being
hand.
theoretical.
I see it. What's the
It
play?
became immediate.
We move.
The
Now,
recovery
agreed. Let's go.
did not just restore
Wow,
health.
this is
it
incredible.
rearranged
Thank you so much
priorities.
to the Academy, to my
The
everyone who made this
gratitude that
possible.
followed
This is for you.
was not performative. It was quiet and sustained. You could see it in the way he spoke about doctors, nurses, neighbors. Fragility without dramatizing it. He has also become more open about the interior landscape he once guarded so tightly. Not in confessional bursts, but in measured admissions. That melancholy was real. That loneliness did not vanish when the applause began. that the most dangerous illusion of fame is the belief that external validation can repair internal fractures. It cannot. It can distract from them. It can temporarily anesthetize them. But it cannot heal them. What healed, or at least stabilized, was commitment. Commitment to Rita. Commitment to fatherhood. Commitment to work that aligned with values, rather than vanity. Commitment to health once the diagnosis made denial impossible. Commitment to friendships maintained outside public view. There is something almost radical about longevity without scandal in a culture that feeds on implosion. Decades in the spotlight and no spectacular collapse. That is not luck. It is discipline. It is choosing restraint when indulgence is available. It is surrounding yourself with people who tell you the truth rather than what keeps the machine running. He is not naive about his own mythology. He knows the world sees him as a symbol of decency. He knows that projection carries weight. And he knows that maintaining alignment between the symbol and the person requires constant attention, not perfection attention. The small, daily corrections that keep you from drifting too far from who you intended to be. In quieter moments, he returns to writing. The rhythm of sentences, the tactile satisfaction of keys striking paper, or the private joy of creation without immediate audience. Reaction. Writing allows him to explore without costume, without lighting, without a camera magnifying every blink. It is a conversation with himself rather than a performance for others. The house in Los Angeles is not a fortress. It is a lived-in space. Books, photographs, evidence of children once running through hallways and now visiting with their own stories.